Welcome back to the Chroncast. I am your host, Alex Rickman, the editor and head writer at Canucks Chronicles. Joining me is Kaja Antic. Kaja, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's just get right into it today. The Canucks played, at time of recording, yesterday against the Winnipeg Jets in a game I went golfing instead of watching. Kaja, what do we think about this game?
It was, I think, how I described it, it was kind of like a nothing burger, to be honest. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't a bad game. It was just a game. I mean, you would hope that they would care a little bit more considering the position that they're in the season, the fact that they beat the Jets 6-2 a few weeks ago, the fact that they, had the loss against Columbus, which we will definitely talk about. Yeah, you would just hope that there was a bit more from the team, and they just kind of gave it away, it felt like, in the third. I mean, obviously, the Jets are a much better team than the Vancouver Canucks. I saw Hellebuck's stat line, and I, audibly cackled. It was, 42, 43 now, but 42, 10, and, 3. That's not human.
No.
That's no. So I was like, yeah, there's no way. And then sure enough, we lost. It's not on Demko, really. It's just the Canucks forgetting how to play hockey once again.
And really could not come at a worse time. This feels like... I said earlier on our show last week that this road trip needs to be 4-2 for the Canucks playoff hopes to stay alive. In the end, they go 2-2-2. That feels like it's it. With how the St. Louis Blues are playing right now, with us still having to pass the Calgary Flames, and even with the Wild kind of collapsing, I think they've built up enough of a cushion for themselves to be safe. This is it, really. I think it's over at this point, and it's just what a brutal way for the season to go, especially after last year.
Oh, absolutely. After last year, and after, trying to put a positive spin on this year, because let's all remember, JT Miller was a Canuck at the start of the season.
Yep.
That's how far we've come. Or gone. I don't know whatever way you are on that debate, but to each their own. We have multiple Petterssons. Filipino's a Canuck, finally, but of course he's injured. And yeah, what a season it's been. I can't wait for the thank you fans post and not an apology like we deserve. What's the saying? Take a page out of the Lightning's book. Or was it the Rangers?
The Lightning.
No. Yeah, the Lightning did it. Yeah, the Lightning had the tweet. The Rangers in 2021, they missed the playoffs, I believe, and they had a message to, I'm not sure if it was season ticket holders or just fans, but it was we know this is not the standard to set. And then they come back and they've been, I mean, this season, not so much, but they've had a pretty good run of it after that. The Lightning obviously go on to win 2 cups and go to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. Vancouver Canucks are in one of the oldest arenas in the NHL.
Yeah, and it just feels like, especially, we've been trying to just make it work all year, and just seeing at the end, focusing specifically on the trade deadline, where we didn't part with any expiring contract, where we didn't sell anything off. We didn't buy either. We didn't do anything. Just stood pat on deadline day. The only move we made that week was moving Carson Soucy for a 3rd-round pick, which really just felt like cutting dead weight at that point, in a way, just with who we had on defense at that point. What are we doing here? Your fans deserve better than this. At the end of the day, this team needs to do something, because just sitting here and just trying to continue down this path we're going on, it's getting you nowhere. We got to do something.
Your players deserve better.
Yeah.
Too. It's not wholly on them. It's also the organization. It's the coaching that is built around them. It is the management. It is... screw it, probably the ownership definitely as well. They're all in play here. Let's bring Ken Sim in while we're at it. It's his fault too. It's an organizational thing from top down. And by the top, I mean the head of state for the Canadian government, King Charles. He is responsible for the Canucks' abysmal year. Regardless, yeah, the players deserve better. Especially if you're gonna go into like another retool year. Quinn Hughes is not staying around for a rebuild. He said that. Like, that's our captain. That is the best defenseman in the league right now. I don't care, Cale Makar fans. He's the best defenseman in the league. And you're going to squander that because... why? No reason.
Yeah, like, it just... I don't get it at this point. Like, I understand wanting to be better. Like, it makes sense. But to be better, you have to be willing to make the moves to get better. It's not just going to magically happen overnight. So why do we seem so averse to making the tough decisions right now that need to be made? And just kicking everything down the road?
Yeah. I mean... yeah, it's hard to think. I'm not surprised they didn't move Besser because he hadn't really shown a lot of oomph, I guess, ahead of the trade deadline. But Pius Suter, we'll talk about it a little bit more later, but like he also has had an amazing year. And he was scoring a lot. He could have fetched a pretty penny at the trade deadline. I'm assuming, obviously, I'm not NHL GM, but certainly could probably get more than what the Bruins got for Brad Marchand. Like, there were availabilities in order to, I don't know, change this team, and unless they have like a concrete thing for re-signing these two players, what was all that for? What was all the drama for? Like,
yeah. And like, if you're gonna part with some of these guys, that doesn't mean you're blowing it up. Like, there are teams who will part with these expiring contracts and then go and get better. Look at teams like the Washington Capitals. Look at teams like the New Jersey Devils, who in recent years have had a bad season, parted ways with some guys, and then gone in the offseason and fixed it with the new assets they've acquired.
Tampa Bay.
Exactly. How did I forget them?
How many draft picks do they have? Like 2?
Something like that?
Okay, to be fair, they traded all of those away for Tanner Jeannot, so not the best management decision, but like, you know, there was all the big drama about Steven Stamkos.
Yeah.
Not resigning. Vegas, they kick a guy to a curb every other week.
Yeah.
Like, Vegas is constantly like getting rid of guys, and they're constantly recycling their thing. I'm not advocating that we trade Brock Besser. Obviously, he's my favorite Canuck. I would really, really like him to stay. But like, at some point, you gotta wonder what the hell is this management doing? Because if they're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna trade Brock, oh, just kidding. Oh, we're gonna trade Pettersson, oh, just kidding. Like, do you actually mean anything you say? It's like reading the news on any other topic. Like this day and age, like, what are you meaning what you are saying?
And like, even if you're not going to trade him, like, or let's say you don't want to trade Brock Besser, because I agree, I didn't necessarily want to trade him either. If you're not going to get him signed for a reasonable rate, is the best thing to do really to hold on to him? No, like letting him walk for free, especially now that we are, barring some absolute miracle, missing the postseason. Like, letting him walk for free after keeping him as an in-house rental. How can you justify that decision?
Yeah, especially if they don't re-sign him and get it done.
Yeah.
I still remember how happy I was that one July 1st when they reached a deal with him for the bridge deal a few years ago. I was so happy. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like going in with that same amount of anxiety. So it'll be a fun few I was about to say few weeks, but it'll be a fun few months because, like, you know, like you said, we're probably not making the postseason. So, yeah, lots of time for Patrick to do his job.
Yeah, love to see that. Just moving from that, the Canucks played one of the biggest tire fires of an NHL game that I've seen just days before this game against the Jets, taking a 7-6 loss in the shootout against the Columbus Blue Jackets. My main question is this. What?
Yeah. That's a good main question.
What was going on in that game?
I honestly could not tell you because so the game started and I was in class.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, I'm in my lecture hall and I'm getting notifications. I have my phone in my backpack, but I'm getting notifications for my scores on my watch because, like, I'm that much of a hockey fan, I guess. I don't know what point I was trying to make there. But anyway, I'm getting notifications on my watch and I'm like, oh, Canucks up 1-0. Nice. Oh, Canucks up 2-0. And it was Brock Besser. I gotta turn it on. So I check it. Brock scores again. They make it 3-0. I talk with one of my classmates after class ends at the first intermission, and we're both like, I had a Canucks backpack, and she's just like, oh yeah, were you watching the game too? Like we were sitting down a couple seats from each other, and we were talking about the game and like how we were hopeful for the postseason, but also like we're still hopeful. Like
At that
let's
point in time, that was reasonable.
At that point in time, it was reasonable, and I was like, yeah, hopefully they don't blow the lead. You could not imagine the rage I felt. Okay, so I left my lecture hall. By the time I got back to my car and started driving, not even on the highway, just getting down the mountain, Columbus had tied it. What? And it just kept getting worse. I ended up watching the rest of the game and reacting to the shootout. Yeah, my mom kept telling me, she was like, it's not that deep, and I was like, no, it is that deep, because if that we're basically done, because they brought out DeBrusque, who can't score a regular goal to save his life, so who knows how that was going to happen in a shootout. And it was Connor Garland and Lekari Mekki?
Yes, believe so.
Yeah. Were those your best options there, bud? Ricky?
Yeah,
I mean, they might have been, but like...
That's the thing, I actually think they... chance they were, just because of how depleted the roster is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there were other players that I might have gone with, like the guys who scored multiple times in the game. Pius Suter, Brock Besser.
Yeah.
Brock Besser scored multiple times, right? I think he might have just had one goal, but he had
just
like
the one, but he had
Ratu.
Yep.
Yeah, like put a guy out there who actually scored on the goalie that you're facing the shootout, and not guy number one. Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about shootouts sometimes, so I have to remind myself I'm not an NHL coach.
Yeah, I remember just like... So do you remember Game 1 against the Oilers in the postseason?
Mm-hmm.
Where the Oilers blew, I think it was a 4-1 lead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun.
I think I have a little bit of an idea how Oilers fans felt watching that game now after watching what happened on Friday. Like, the stakes are obviously different because one's a playoff game versus a regular season game. But this is a regular season game with major implications for us. And it still just went from such a promising start to the wheels were entirely off the bus by like midway through the second period.
Yeah.
And they did not return for the rest of the game.
No. Which has more like semblance of sanity? Canucks games generally, or my brain during finals week? Probably my brain. Like, let's be real here. You could not run that game in like an NHL simulator and have it come out that way. I swear, in like 100 chances. No. Like that. How? Who predicted that the Canucks' playoff hopes, after going to Game 7 of the second round against the team that would win the Western Conference, how could you predict that to the next year, your playoff hopes end at a shootout loss after you had a 3-0 lead against the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Yeah, my heart rate during that game was not human.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just... And so another thing just within that game I'd like to talk about, Kevin Lankinen obviously did not have a very good performance. And I saw a lot of reaction online to this where people basically going, oh, that contract is going to age like milk. Guys, you have seen how many games he's played lately, right? Like, he's played
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact number. It's probably like 15 of the last 20 games. At one point, he played 10 out of 11 straight right before this. He's burnt out. Like,
Yeah.
if you gave any goaltender the workload we've been giving Kevin Lankinen down the stretch right now, they'd be getting pretty similar results to this.
Yeah, the only reason that Connor Hellebuck has the record he does is because he's Connor Hellebuck and not human. I'm convinced he is a government experiment. What year was he born? Because I feel like I want to blame this on Ronald Reagan. But that might be past his time.
I think that might be before Hellebuck's time.
Oh, damn. Okay, I'm gonna look this up now. But yeah,
we're gonna
Kevin Lank.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Yep.
The other thing with Hellebuck too is he has Eric Comrie backing him up. He has a very solid NHL caliber backup behind him. Whereas Lankinen, through a lot of these, had Shilovs behind him, who, God love him for his playoff performances, has not been having a good regular season so far in the NHL. He's just... Effectively, what I want to say is just, please breathe, Canucks fans. Breathe. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, one game might define a season, but it's not really... It's not that deep. Okay, it was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was president when Connor Hellebuck was born. And, you know what? Yeah, sure. What the hell? Bill Clinton, it is your fault. I don't know. I don't know why, but it's your fault, buddy. I mean, there's probably a lot of things you could say about that for Bill Clinton, but...
I'm just going to move us along from that. Aatu Räty has been having some really good performances lately.
One thing you can't fault Bill Clinton for, though, is his amazing saxophone skills. I need to stop talking about Bill Clinton. This is a hockey show. I did not put the puck past that goaltender.
So Aatu Räty.
Okay. Aatu Räty.
Forgot what I was going to say about him. Let's try to remember this now. He's been having some really good performances lately. He's looked, decent in the NHL throughout the season, but lately it's been a step up. What do you think we could be looking at for Ratu's role next season?
Well, apparently first line center if we're losing Pia Suter. No, he's gonna be Bill Clinton. No, cut that out. No, for next season, honestly, will the Canucks exist next season? That's a good question. Will they just implode? I feel like they're headed down that path. No, I think he'll be a good... I'm not sure if he'll make the top 6.
Yeah. For
next year. I think he'd be a good middle 6 option. But yeah, he has been on fire lately. Yeah. Side note, my mom thinks he's 12, so can we get a confirmation on that so my mom doesn't think the Canucks are engaging in child labor practices? Alleged.
The children yearn for the third line center job.
I need that on a t-shirt. The children line for the third line center job.
But yeah, no, Räty, I would love to see. I agree that I think top 6 would be a bit of a reach for next year. Obviously, if it happens, I'd consider that more of a pleasant surprise than something to plan around. But just with the way he's playing right now, and with him, especially, I would say he's comfortably our best face-off guy right now. Having him just in that role where we really have been lacking a face-off presence since trading JT Miller away, having him in your bottom 6 as a center works. And if this offense stays up like this and can keep coming along, this is a pretty good player you've got there.
Yeah. Also, he's the one that does the weird stick flip thing, right? Yeah, that everyone keeps talking about.
Take the face-off right-handed, and I think John Shorthouse mentioned there's a drinking game about him mentioning that now.
I keep hearing that, and I'm just like, interesting, detail, but you know what? Respect. I like the face-off, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the dominance of the faceoff dot he has, considering the Canucks have really struggled with that, like you said, especially since trading JT Miller. Honestly, I'd harken back to especially since trading Bo Horvat, but that's a whole other conversation in itself. But yeah, especially on the faceoff dot, with some uncertainty with the Senators with the Senators. The Senators are not involved in this unless they want to be. Yeah, uncertainty with the Senators, uncertainty with like face off, because like Pedersen's gotten better at face offs, but he's also out right now. Hedel has played like 10 games, so he has still some time to prove himself. P.S. Suter might not be a Canuck in a few weeks, so there's a lot.
Yeah.
And Neil Zoman, bless his heart.
He's just kind of there.
He's kind of there. Like, massive respect though, because obviously I can't play in the NHL.
He's
but
a hell of a lot better at hockey than I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the other thing with the face-off too is, in addition to Horvat losing, he was barely ever here, and I am in the end glad we didn't sign him given the contract he got. Having a guy like Elias Lindholm was, I think, quite valuable on the dot too. Like he was.
That was like the one. Sorry.
His time here was not necessarily the best for a lot of it, and that contract he got in Boston is, wow. That's really the only word I can think to describe it. But he was very good on the dot, and I think that's something we've been missing since we keep losing face-off guys. Like you said, Bo Horvat, JT Miller, Elias Lindholm. So if Ratu can come along and be the next kind of face-off specialist, that's important.
Yeah, that is important. Also, especially because like it's not like we have to go out and sign a splashy contract in free agency. Mm-hmm. We just got him because we traded our captain. No big deal. I mean, ultimately it worked out for both teams. Don't get me wrong. I miss Bo Horvat though. Anyway, yeah, kind of a face-off specialist. Maybe the Sedin twins need to up the ante on face-off preparation for the setters.
Yeah.
This is just me. I think both of them, because obviously Henrik was the center, but like, allegedly with Daniel wearing Henrik's jersey for some games, probably had to take quite a number of face-offs. They probably have some good lessons for all players. So yeah.
If only there was a coach in the organization somewhere who was a former face-off specialist himself, like a Manny Malhotra type.
Yeah. Okay, this might be a dumb question. Is he allowed to coach the big team as the head coach of Abbotsford?
I think we can get into a somewhat similar topic now. Let's pivot to this. So there's some uncertainty surrounding the future of Rick Tocchet in Vancouver. So
should be short.
Weeks... What?
Nothing.
All right. Oh, now little preview of what we're about to talk about. The future is unclear. It seems like Tocchet does not want to use the contract option he supposedly has. He does not want a lame duck year. He basically wants term, if he is to say. Elliot Friedman also offered today that an extension was offered but declined by Rick Tocchet. Kaja, what do you think?
Leave. Gone. Eviscerated. Exiled. Banned. Run, bald man, run. I'm so sick of watching this Canucks team trip over their own shoelaces because their coach doesn't know his left from his right. Okay? I mean, granted, I don't either, but I'm not an NHL coach. It's... Why was that the point I tried to make? Anyway, Rick Tocchet is consistently outcoached. The Jack Adams was a blue moon event. There is no way to sustainably coach a team. He was brought in to be the Miller Whisperer. We don't have Miller anymore. What is his job? What does he even do? Nothing. Obviously nothing, because this team has not accomplished anything. He rode the high of his players having great years last year. Demko was second in Vezina voting. Like, Quinn Hughes, obviously a phenomenal. Elias Pettersson, phenomenal start to the season. JT Miller, 100 points. Like, there was a lot going right for the Canucks last year. And then this year, when they finally started to get adversity, he's just so, like standoffish about it. Like after the Jets game, he was like, "Yeah, I could be proud of that fight." To get your lead back after you lost it, you had a 3-0 lead. Sorry, against the Jackets. You had a 3-0 lead in Columbus on a pivotal road trip where you're fighting for a playoff spot, and you can't hold a 3-goal lead? Are you serious? Like, this is not a league, Richard, anymore, where goalies, they're basically beer league caliber. No offense to the goalies of the time that Rick Tocchet played in, but you can't always outscore your problems. The Canucks tried to in that game, and hey, Elvis Merzlikins, no offense, not the best goalie in the NHL. They tried to outscore their problems. At the same time, the Canucks allow 7, but the you can't say, "Oh, it's just adversity. We'll go past that. Oh, it's just a test." What? Like I had a point. I think I made it a few weeks ago somewhere where I was just like, the Canucks have faced adversity this year. So when they get to the playoffs, that keyword I said when. It's like when they get to the playoffs, then they'll be able to like use that adversity and push forward. Whereas like the previous year, you know, they won their division, they had such a great year, they didn't really face as much. Whereas this season, they face so much, so like they're obviously going to get through it tougher, right? Well, no, if your coach is just like 2-week joeing it, like he's not there. Is he on a Messier deal where he actually lives in Washington State? Like, what is going on here? It's ridiculous. Anyway, do not come back. Like, I don't care if he wanted a lame duck deal. I don't care if he signed for like a pack of chips and a crisp high five. I couldn't care less. I'm not paying him. I mean, if we sign him to a long extended deal with a lot of millions of dollars, get ready for ticket prices to go way up. Student rush is going to be like $300 a pop. But leave. Just leave. Leave. Anyway, that's my little rant.
So how do you really feel?
Brother!
So I'm just going to start this off by saying Rick Tocchet has probably forgotten more about hockey than I will ever know. He is far more experienced than I am. He is a better hockey coach than I am.
Debatable.
However, I think it's time for a change here. Like, Listen, I will not forget what was done last season and how this team looked and how excited I was by everything. But it just doesn't look like it's there this year. Like you said, he's getting consistently outcoached, and it just feels like the way this team is trying to play is not how the modern NHL operates and how these players operate, and is not the best way to get the most out of this group. I also have thoughts on the current group, and I have complaints about the core and how many coaches they've had to go through to get things to actually work all for one actual year of success. But at the same time, it still isn't working. You gotta fix something.
Can I make a point about that?
Yes, you may.
I don't think Travis Green was the problem. He was the scapegoat for Benning's problems.
Yeah.
If Travis Green was not the head coach of the Ottawa Senators, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him back. Okay? That's my hot take. That's my hot take. But that is also goes to show how much I cannot stand Rick Tocchet as a head coach in the NHL right now. Sorry.
No.
I was just say, let's hopefully not turn, like, if they look to sign him to a long-term bajillion-dollar deal, please don't turn into Sporting KC. Or they could be like Miami and go through coaches every other year because whoever their DP is wants a different guy.
Yeah, like, ultimately, the report from Friedman earlier today again said that he had declined an offer, and basically kind of the prevailing thought from that is if we want to keep him, it's going to need to be more than we are willing to pay for a coach, which again is why Kaja brought up the point about ticket prices needing to be jacked. I just don't know if this is the guy to commit to long term. Like, this feels like a situation where if you pay him long term, this is how I have a feeling things are going to go. If we pay up and keep him long term, things are going to turn into a disaster and he's going to be out on his ass within a year. If we don't, he's going to go somewhere else, win another Jack Adams, and make a deep playoff run, just because we're the Canucks, and that's how things work.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah. If we give him a lot of money with a contract, he's going to be back in a TNT studio by next January.
And again, even if he does go somewhere else and immediately have success, although we don't know what the two different timelines look like, you can't necessarily say that's a failure, because just because something works in one situation doesn't mean it'll work in another. Like, just because, let's say he goes to Philadelphia and replaces John Tortorella. If he were to work there, that's just an example off the top of my head, I don't know if that's a good fit, blah, blah, blah. That does not necessarily mean that another year in Vancouver would have suddenly had him back to coaching and having the team looking like it looked in 2023-24. Mm-hmm. I think that's another important thing to remember.
Yeah, like, if just because a player can have success in another place, like, a lot of people said that with JT Miller. Like, he goes to the Rangers and goes on a point-scoring streak and is like, oh, we shouldn't have traded him, we traded the wrong guy, blah, 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 blah. No. Like, have you not watched him play hockey for the last 3 years? He does not want to be here. Like, he signed the bag and checked out.
Yeah.
Which, like, respect, but also, really?
But yeah, the same.
Putting a coach into a different situation, sometimes it means success, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of examples. I was gonna say something about John Tortorella never finding success where he goes, but he has one more Stanley Cup than I do. But I think he has one, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, he has one from the Lightning, I believe.
Oh, God. Oh, he's old.
Back in the old times, yeah.
I was 04. I was 1.5 when John Tortorella last had success.
Yeah, I was, based on when the cup was awarded, a half.
I was a half. Yeah. John Tortorella, you have not had success since we were, like, yay big. I don't know how big babies are. Retire. Anyway.
So,
you know what? Since we love trading with Pittsburgh so much, we should trade coaches.
So this kind of does bring me to my next point. It's, if Tocchet is to go, do you have any names in mind that you would like to see come in as the next coach of the Vancouver Canucks?
Jim Curtin.
I have a slight issue with that.
Wait, is he coaching another team?
No, it's just that he coaches the wrong sport.
Oh, no, yeah, no, that was the bit.
Yeah,
I was I just remember when Vanny got fired, everybody wanted him in. I was just like...
I don't know that this team would benefit too much from a Ted Lasso situation. I could be wrong, but...
Vanny Sartini. Get him in. Get him in. No, I really don't know who would come in. Because what coaches are on expiring contracts?
That would have been a good thing for me to research before the podcast, eh?
I will look.
Yeah, I wrote down some names just of people who are... I have 4 names written down right now. And they are varying degrees of available, I'll call it. So it's Manny Malhotra, who obviously would be available given we are still his employer.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Woodcroft, given he currently lacks employment.
Oh, right. Yeah.
David Carl, the head coach at the University of Denver and the U.S. World Junior team. That's a little bit riskier because obviously no NHL experience. I don't think even as an assistant, but again, there's more upside because it's a little untested and clearly showed that he can coach at those levels. Or if he gets fired, maybe you give Andrew Brunette a run. But
Okay. Well, Rick Tocchet didn't have success as an NHL coach.
Well, he
had an assist as an assistant. Yes, I understand. But as a head coach, no, nothing. And he still gets a job. So.
I'm just saying because it would be like his entry into the NHL as a head coach. So there's
fair.
It's inherent risk with any hire like that. But I also do think.
Is that not like? Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is that not like Knobloch? But I forgot he was an AHL coach too.
Yeah, and I guess the thing is too, like, when you're hiring a coach, there's, I think, benefit and with really anything is risk and benefit. But in this situation, I think the benefit to hiring an experienced coach is you know what you're getting. The risk also, I think, comes in at you know what you're getting. You know what the ceiling is. And any coach who is available as a free agent is going to be available for a reason. Whereas if you're hiring somebody who hasn't had that experience yet, the risk is obviously if they can't make the transition to the new level. But if it comes with more upside, I would say, because that's where, everybody was untested at one point at the highest level. Like Paul Maurice at one point was not an NHL head coach.
And now he's the GOAT.
I love Paul Maurice.
He's great. So this is Google AI. Is Todd McClellan still the coach of the LA Kings?
Isn't he in Detroit now?
Yeah. Who is the coach of the Los Angeles Kings? I just had the Wikipedia page. Who is the coach? Head coach. List of NHL head coaches. Yeah. Todd McClellan's at... Yeah. Once again, do not trust Google AI. Who is the head coach of the Los Angeles Kings? Who is Jim Hiller?
Oh, I was watching the Kings game yesterday and they were interviewing him. How did I not remember that?
He's from Port Alberni.
Is he?
It takes 2 ferries to get there. No, it doesn't. I'm thinking of Powell River.
I've been there before.
Yeah. They both have BCHL teams. That's what I was thinking of.
They do. I forgot where this was going.
I'm looking for coaches, NHL coaches on the hot seat.
Yep. Rick Tocchet.
Okay. Rick Tocchet is the picture for this BetMGM article. Fitting. But he's not listening.
If you don't know, Google it.
Yep. What was it? What was the... It was Operation something. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Wait, let me just...
Wayne Gretzky also involved in that?
Yeah, but it was his wife.
Oh,
Operation Slapshot.
Operation Slapshot.
I almost said Operation Icebreaker, but no, that's a novel.
The first and only time Wayne Gretzky disgraced himself. Nothing.
I have a whole other article I wrote to dispute that. I forgot Patrick was still a coach.
Oh, yeah.
Or he's back as a coach, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just look at the potential replacements. Yeah, because he's literally the picture for this article, and he's not mentioned whatsoever. So the ones on the hot seat are Andrew Brunette, Mike Sullivan, Joe Sacco, and John Torello, who's been fired. So Andrew Brunette, his potential replacements: Carl Taylor, head coach of Nashville's AHL team. Current Predators assistant, Todd Richards, previously a head coach in Minnesota and Columbus. Mike Sullivan, 2-time Stanley Cup winner Mike Sullivan is far too talented of a coach to be stuck on a sub-500 Pittsburgh Penguins team. That's a statement.
Yep.
While Sullivan insisted in an interview with The Athletic on Tuesday that he wants to stay in Pittsburgh, I don't buy it. Okay, ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Like, who, Brian? Like, wait. Oh yeah, it said Brian. I thought it said Brain. Yeah, like, is he that talented of a coach?
I don't know.
Or did
he's coaching, like, when you have Sidney Crosby, who I'm choosing to revisionist history call the greatest player in NHL history right now because I'm mad at someone else, and Evgeny Malkin as your first 2 centers.
What did Mario Lemieux ever do to you? I'm just kidding. The best player in NHL history is obviously Louis Eriksson.
Forgetting about Mike Santorelli.
I just got iced latte on all over myself. So that's how this is going.
This is a very professional operation we're running.
Wait. Oh my god. Oh, David Quinn could potentially replace Mike Sullivan because David Quinn is so good at being an NHL head coach.
That feels like a choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's wow.
Oh. Don Sweeney and Cam Neely will surely be going big game hunting this offseason to find a new head coach and save their jobs. Okay, Brian, I'm back on your side. If Pittsburgh moves on from Mike Sullivan, I expect them to be in on him, even though he's defenseman Charlie McAvoy's father-in-law. I love that. I love that tidbit. Yeah. I'm trying to find, like, concrete things, coaching options ramping up for the Flyers.
I don't know where they publish.
TSN insider Pierre LeBrun notes, this is from 4 days ago,
Okay.
Rick Tocchet is the only NHL coach currently on an expiring contract.
Oh. Okay. So
we're screwed.
Well,
if no one gets fired.
Well, but that then comes the, like, hiring somebody who doesn't have NHL experience, which again comes with its risks, but also its rewards. That's where, again, an option like Malhotra comes up, or David Carl, or, again, Woodcroft.
Sorry, remind me. Jay Woodcroft's the guy that got fired for Knobloch, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which,
I was picturing the right guy.
Like, the start of last season for the Oilers was horrible, but that was not on him.
They always start bad.
Yeah,
like,
that's just...
It's just how it is.
That's tradition.
You know who the Canucks should bring back? Bruce Boudreau, because that worked out so well the first time.
It'd be fun, at least.
No, you know who we should bring back? Okay. Alain Vigneault. Yeah. Or no. I remember tuning into a Flyers game once, and he was still the coach there, and I was just a little bit like, damn.
He was great here, but, like, time marches on.
Yep. Life for Rick Tocchet. Sorry. But yeah, so this is from, like, a Philly... I think this is, coaching options ramping up for Flyers. So it's about the Philly team. So apparently they want Tocchet in Philadelphia. And for that, I say, have at her.
The Flyers... He's the all-time leader in penalty minutes for the Philadelphia Flyers. Which...
Is he good? Is he gonna put Jamie Drysdale on the power play though? Yeah, I'm gonna put him on the power play.
If there's a team though to be all-time leader in penalty minutes for leading the Flyers in that is a pretty impressive number.
Yeah, I mean,
especially
I say Flyers.
He spent only about half his career there.
I would say Flyers or Boston.
Flyers and Boston, yeah. Boston, I guess, a little more because it's an original 6 team, so you've got more time.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, Philadelphia. I was never really conscious when they were good. So, well, yeah. I mean, they were good when I was, like a child, but also whenever they had games, they didn't air here, so.
Yeah. You're not really aware of what's going on at that age.
I didn't know Philadelphia existed when I was a child.
Yeah. Well, I figured it out at some point in my childhood, but I don't remember when.
Yeah. I knew it was cream cheese. Is it also... That's also near where Phineas and Ferb is, right? Same area?
Phineas and Ferb are fictional, so I'm not quite sure.
Yep, I'm looking that up now. Because it was the Tri-Cities, which is that not near...
There is a tri-state area, which is New York,
Tri-state
New Jersey,
area.
and Pennsylvania, which I think Philadelphia is near.
Yeah,
I don't think it's specifically that tri-state. They never really mentioned which
tri-state
areas.
Pittsburgh's on one side, and Pennsylvania's on the...
Yeah, Pittsburgh's on the west.
Philadelphia is on the other side.
Yes.
Pittsburgh is on the west side because it's next to Ohio, because G.T. Miller's town where he's from is in Ohio, but it's closer to Pittsburgh. That's how I remember it.
I remember one's west, one's east.
Yeah, I'm not that good at maps. I am pretty good at maps, just not that great. Where am I looking? Tri-state area.
All right, while we check on where Phineas and Ferb are from, I'll just basically start moving us along to the next topic while you Google this. Pius Suter lately has been really performing, stepping into basically a first-line center. You seem shocked at something.
Okay. It's a fictional tri-state area.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So, yes, but it is situated near both the Atlantic Ocean and within a day's drive of Mount Rushmore, which are very far apart.
So, in the Simpsons movies, I haven't seen this movie, but I know there's a moment where Ned Flanders mentions how their state borders, I think it's like Nevada, Ohio, South Carolina, and some other state, which, if you've looked at a map for more than about 4 seconds, you figure that state cannot exist.
No, because Nevada is here, and South Carolina. That's like saying Newfoundland and Manitoba share a border.
A little bit, yeah. So basically, we've got one of those going on. Probably because cartoon writers don't want to bother reveal what state it's in, because that's too much effort. And now you have to be continuous.
Hey, we know Family Guy's in Rhode Island. And that's the only reason. Yeah, that's the only reason I know Rhode Island where it is. Because Family Guy.
It's a good reason, to be fair.
I wrote a paper on them. Anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, Pius Suter.
Yep. Prius.
Basically, Prius. That's someone who's seeing the stories. When I've lost track of where I was going with this. First line center right now because of Elias Pettersson being out, upcoming free agent. What we've kind of touched on this a little bit already this show. So what do you think the future has in store for Pius Suter with the Vancouver Canucks?
He's going to become another tragedy of free agent walking. I already made a graphic about this, so it's like one of those heaven staircase memes. It has a lot of Canucks free agents who walked, and then it just says "Join us, PS." And yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. Took me like 5 minutes, but yeah, I think he walks unless he wants to stay for like 4 or 5 mil.
Yeah.
And 4 or 5 mil, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and I don't know that I'd be willing to go to 5 with Suter.
Yeah.
With 4, that's about the point where I would stop being comfortable, but I think like 3 or 4 million, I do think I could stomach that with Suter, just because, like, first of all, he's a player where if you put him in any role, he will at least function. Like, you can put him on your bottom line, you can put him on the middle six, you can put him on the top line at least for a stretch and have it work. Like, obviously, if he's your long-term plan as your first line center, you have a problem. Mm-hmm. But if he's stepping in there to fill in while he's spending more time maybe on the wing on the second line or centering your third line, he's a pretty good player to have for that.
He's like a plug-and-play guy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you just kind of put him anywhere. I would say something around the 15 to 16 million total mark.
Yeah.
Because, like, I do think he'd get more on free agency. But it really depends on, like, what the front office offers him. Mm-hmm. Maybe they offer him a seat with cup holders in the locker room. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens when the season ends in a couple weeks.
They don't do cup holders at Rogers Arena.
Okay.
Well, they will soon.
They will soon.
I've seen the pictures. We will be getting cup holders, and that's a big triumph.
Yeah, my shoes from a game where we won in overtime in 2022 would be eternally grateful. I may have spilled my drink when Brock Besser scored the OT winner. And my shoes were sticky.
It's a tragic loss.
It was tragic. They were old shoes. It's okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What I find is helpful for sport... I'm just going to take this off topic a little bit. What I find is helpful for sporting events, not at all sponsored, but local product, I do want to plug Vessies.
I have yet to get some.
Okay.
I want them, but my mom got some. She likes them. I usually am like a one pair of sneakers person, but I think I need to upgrade mine sometime soon. So.
Yeah. No, yeah. I've had pairs for a few years now, and I will swear by these things. The waterproofing is so good, and it's so good for when you go to a sporting event because, you know, beer might fly, things may happen, you don't know what's going to happen, and they're so comfortable and the waterproofing is really good. Again, not sponsored. Vessi, please sponsor me.
Yes. Yeah. I will definitely have to check, because, like, also, yeah, just even, like, walking in downtown sometimes if you're going to sporting events,
Yeah.
it's rainy most of the time.
It rains in this city a lot. We are called Rain City for a reason.
And we don't have the underground tunnels that literally every other major Canadian city has. Which I mean, like, it's based off of good, like, because we don't have the geographical structure for it, and we're in an earthquake zone, so it is likely very unsafe. But that was the coolest thing ever when I went to Toronto. I was like, you mean this connects everywhere? Yeah. Anyway. I like how you had a warning for going off topic, and I'm just here like, yeah, I went on a whole rant about Bill Clinton. Like, ADHD.
With that, do we have any more Canucks topics to bring up, or should we pivot into other sports? What do you think?
Pivot.
Let's start with baseball, because I want to talk about this. Let's start with the not at all controversial bats that my New York Yankees are using.
The tornado. Typhoon. Shoot.
So, if you
I was close! I was close!
If you haven't seen this, the New York Yankees have broken out these new bats. They're called the torpedo bat, where basically the barrel is moved further down so that the part where the ball is being hit most of the time is now the barrel of the bat. Therefore, you get more power behind the ball because there's more contact area with wood, leading it to go further. This resulted in the Yankees hitting 15 home runs their first 3 games of the season, tying the all-time Major League record. Has also resulted in some controversy with people saying that these bats should be banned due to it providing a bit more of an advantage versus...
Hello?
Have I cut out again?
It went to black for a second.
Did you hear what I was saying?
They were getting an advantage, and then it cut off.
Okay. People have been basically upset that the torpedo bats are causing an advantage because the ball will fly further. However, it does fit within the league's rules for diameter. Do you have an opinion on this?
I'm gonna be honest, I had not, like, fully sat down and, like, observed a baseball game this season. I mean, the season just started. Until, like, yeah, literally, today with the Blue Jays game, they had it on and they were talking about a little bit, because Davis Schneider, on the Blue Jays, he has one now, and he had it, and I was just like, damn, that is a weirdly shapen thing. If it's in the rules, it's in the rules. Like, that's my take on it, I guess. I mean, I'm not a baseball purist. You could say I'm very new to the sport. But yeah, the Blue Jays manager, he said, it's new so you don't really know. I think if the Yankees didn't hit 15 homers, we wouldn't be talking about it. I think if it was like a random team like the Diamondbacks, they wouldn't be talking about it either. It's just because it was the Yankees. Or like a big team like that. Like, if the Dodgers were doing it, like, yeah.
Yeah. No, basically, to me, this is a way of bringing back the excitement of the steroid era with the ball flying out at will, but also without steroids needing to be involved and having this all be legal.
Well, hey, a player got suspended today for PEDs, so maybe they are involved.
Oh, yeah, I missed that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Profar?
A lot. Sorry?
Profar, was it?
I think so.
Someone.
It wasn't a Blue Jay or
right.
a Dodger, so I don't really know.
Random player.
I'm pretty sure you got it right.
Okay.
I will double check here. That's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I pressed the wrong button.
But basically, like, listen, I am also biased as a Yankee fan. Yes, I'm disappointed in myself as well. And this led to a really good opening weekend for us. Like, you know, the Brewers just getting absolutely lit up 2 of the 3 games. One was reasonable, but still a win. I also do feel really bad for former Yankee Nestor Cortez, who started the game for the Brewers in the first of these ones, and on his first 3 pitches of the game gave up 3 home runs.
Ooh.
It's like, wow, that's almost impressively bad.
It was Jurickson Profar suspended 80 games for the Braves.
The Braves, yeah.
That's one of those racist names, right?
It's a little.
The origins of it.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
It's one of those ones that's a touch questionable at this point in.
Yeah. Like the Chicago Blackhawks. Anyway.
But yeah, you said you haven't watched much baseball, so I won't ask too much about the Jays. If any other comments you want to make on this, or
just why do we keep signing Vladdy Guerrero to nothing deals and then just hoping everything resolves the situation later on? Like, it's getting a bit ridiculous at this point. Also, I feel so bad for my aunt. I just want to say she was at the home opener and the Jays lost 12-2 to Baltimore.
ooh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, the Jays season starts today, and then I was busy or something, so I would like check the score later, and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, they have a winning record though, I think now. Actually, they might not. They won today, so you know what? Things are looking up. Jimenez looks good. Jimenez looks good for the Jays. He has 3 home runs.
And I just want to add that I am experiencing a little bit of pleasure at the Mets' bad start to the season. Just
it's the
I'm
Mets,
so glad
baby.
He didn't sign that contract.
He's not good. He's not.
It's nice to not have to pretend he's good defensively anymore.
That's like it's like the Darnell Nurse contract, you know?
I feel the same way about another player who I don't have to pretend is good defensively anymore right now, too. Have you not heard about Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Oh, right. I was like, my brain is not computing. I was like, what did Sala do?
No, not him.
Yeah, I was like...
He's a forward. He doesn't need to be good defensively.
Yeah, I was like... What is happening?
No. I still love
now.
Mo.
I understand now. I was like, what did Mo ever do to you? Like... Anyway.
No. Yeah. Let's pivot to soccer a little bit now. Let's talk about the Whitecaps. They sort of played soccer on the weekend.
That's a stretch.
A ball was kicked around a field for about 90 minutes.
This is TFC. They have yet to win this year. The Whitecaps have one loss this calendar year. And you can't score a goal. I mean, I understand they're kind of depleted, and you just got a lot of players back from international duty and stuff like that. So, like, they're probably jet-lagged. You know, some of them had to fly directly to Toronto. Why did I say it like that? Toronto. It's Toronto. Toronto. Yeah, so I understand that aspect, but also it's TFC. They had Insigne starting for the second time this season, I
believe so.
Yeah, I know it might have been the first, because I know he was he didn't dress for 4 games. I can't remember if he came off the bench their game before this last match day, but yeah. Honestly, I'm just glad we didn't concede a goal to TFC. We're still missing Gold. Obviously a big piece on the team. Also equally important, Bjorn Inge Utvik. Equally important player.
Yep.
And Sam Adekugbe.
Yeah.
Sorry. I feel like I just disrespected Sam there. There's no disrespect.
He was very good this season when he played.
Yeah, that was a bit about Utvik being as important as Ryan Gold to this team. No disrespect to him. Obviously, I can't play in the MLS, but still, Ryan Gold is the captain of this team. Yeah, I don't know. It still wasn't a bad game. I think if this was a Vanny game, we would have lost, if I'm being honest. Like, it just being real. They didn't have, like, the same attack that they normally do in this new era of Jesper Ball, but is that what we're calling it, Jesper Ball?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, in this new era of Yesterball didn't have like the same attack, but also I could understand wanting to preserve your energy because we play Pumas on Wednesday, so
Yeah,
that'll be
like I
fun.
do definitely think in the final third we really seemed to struggle. I think there was like that one play where Brian White could have turned and shot and chose to lay it off and really made a meal of that. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
he was normally a very good player. I don't know what he was thinking there, but it just feels like we were really dull in the final third, but we were also without Pedro Vite for half the game, and when he did play, he did look a little bit tired still from his time with Ecuador, I think. Might have still been experiencing some jet lag. And again, like the game against Pumas on Wednesday, that's, I think, definitely the more important one now that we're into the quarterfinal stage of this competition. Like, with me, I don't... The CONCACAF Champions Cup is, I would say, a violently unserious tournament.
Oh yeah,
But now
just
that you've
yeah.
reached the quarterfinal, like, you've gotten this far, if there's a trophy to be won, you may as well go win it.
That was my vibe with. That's my vibe with a lot of tournaments. Honestly, that
Yeah.
was my vibe with Copa America last year.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Canada, we're just here to have a good time, and
Like,
then we get to the final four, and I'm just like, we're in it to win it. Argentina's going down. Like, yeah.
yeah. Like, it's up to a certain point, it's just like, all right, whatever, I don't care that much. Like, let's just get this out of the way and get back to focusing on MLS. Now we're here. I did not see this coming whatsoever, and now it's okay, well, gotta focus on that first. Like, MLS, especially because, like, MLS, I think you have a lot more wiggle room. Like, if you have a bad game here and there over the course of the season, there's plenty of time for it to all wash out.
Yeah, because you get more
This
points
is-
per game.
Yeah, and this is an elimination tournament. If you have a bad
Yep.
game, that's it. You go home. And also, like, kind of at this point in the tournament, if the Whitecaps are to advance past Pumas, who right now are not looking very good in Liga MX from everything I've heard, we would be playing the winner of LAFC and Inter Miami. Please. It would be so entertaining.
Okay. It would be so entertaining. Because, oh my god. Oh my god.
And for the Champions League at this stage in the tournament, I think they'd
We
make
would
them
host.
travel.
Yeah, they'd make them travel, but would he play?
I don't think they'd make them travel if they didn't have intentions of playing them.
He's done that before. He did that, god. What game did they... Miami did a tour, an international tour last year.
The difference, though, I think, is that was a preseason tour where the whole team was going anyway.
True.
Whereas this is now a competitive game. Like, it's... If he doesn't... I was about to say the most obvious thing on the planet. If he doesn't travel, he's not going to play. That is, in fact, how sports work.
Yeah, no, he's gonna instead, you know, work at a kids' soccer event with his teammates in the sunny weather because he didn't want to step foot on turf, even though there's video evidence of him playing on turf like a month later.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, like, I think... But anyway, for something like the CONCACAF Champions League, I do think that Miami would probably be having Messi, Suarez, and Busquets travel for that and play in that. And just, like... Listen, I'm a Whitecaps fan. I'm cheering for the Whitecaps, but one, I do want to see those guys play. Like, selfishly, it'd be pretty incredible to watch. Because I want to watch the Whitecaps beat them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, the experience of seeing your team get a win and to advance to a final of a tournament like this by beating some of the greatest players in Barcelona history. What a moment that would be for the club.
Okay, but what if LAFC wins?
Then I'm terrified because we're going to lose to LAFC because they just have black magic over us in any competition we play them in.
Hey, we beat them last year at home.
Yeah, but the moment it comes down to chance to be eliminated,
true,
we lose.
But Jesper Ball. There's only one team that has beaten Jesper Ball, and it was the Chicago Fire, coached by Greg Berhalter.
I cannot believe... I missed that game, but I still am in complete disbelief that we lost the Berhalter Bowl.
I was at that game, and I am still in disbelief.
I'm so sorry.
I was so hyped for the Berhalter Bowl. Yeah, why do I still have that page still open? Yeah, because we also play Colorado the next MLS match day.
Yeah.
Which also isn't as important as playing Pumas.
Yeah.
If we got to host the game against Miami. If he doesn't go, awful look for CONCACAF. If he does go, then what does that situation look like for playing? What does that situation look like also for CONCACAF at FIFA? Because, like, oh, if Messi plays on turf, then everyone can play on turf, and then they can stop having a tizzy about it. Which I understand, it's a tizzy to be had, but also they've made the women play on turf for years. The women played on turf in the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup at BC Place for the final. I know, I witnessed it. I was there. Sorry, I'm sick of double standards, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess either way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Here's the thing: giant crowds of people terrify me, so I probably wouldn't go. I will support my club from home, but yeah, I like even if he's playing. I don't know. There's just something about it. It's just like. It's really just a guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a weird thing to say, but like, I mean, it is a weird thing to say considering how much like he's lauded as a god of football. But like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just really, he's just another player on the. I'm pretty sure I'd freak out equally if Sebastian Berhalter took the pitch. Like, honestly, that's my Messi.
Yeah. No, I mean, I take a different approach because, like, for me, like, Messi was, like, my favorite player of my childhood, so just watching him play in person would be a pretty big experience for that, just because I have the nostalgia attached, especially. But, like, at the end of the day, too, with the fact that I'm going there, if this happens, I will be at that game in the Whitecaps supporter section. I'm going to cheer for the Whitecaps. And really, the most fun part of this to me, if we were to win this, would be just I want a camera on Don Garber's face. Yeah. As we see a Canadian team take his golden child out of competition.
His golden children, because they have to fight each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, the Messi being, like, the pinnacle. I think that's, like, me with, like, players like Sidney Crosby hockey-wise.
Yeah.
Whereas for, like, football, when I was growing up, the player that I idolized was Christine Sinclair. So I guess that would be my comparable.
Yeah.
But I've seen her play at BC Place multiple times now. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's
great if you ever do it on the women's side. Anything else we want to talk about soccer, or should we move into our final topic of the day?
Go Cambridge United. I was told to say that. Just kidding.
What?
My friend's a Cambridge fan, so Easter egg.
All right. Formula One.
Yeah.
The ever-entertaining Red Bull team have made a driver swap, sending Liam Lawson to their junior team, Racing Bulls, and bringing Yuki Tsunoda up for his shot with the big team. Do we have thoughts?
Okay, let's go. So Nicole Piastri's favorite driver, Yuki Tsunoda, is now in the Red Bull senior team, being, a well-earned teammate of Max Verstappen. I think, so Max Verstappen's had a lot of teammates in his career. I would say, because Alex Albon's a pretty good driver too. But I think Yuki could potentially beat out Albon and, like, had the skill level of Max's teammates.
Mm-hmm.
I think Daniel Ricciardo still is number one, personally.
Oh, yeah.
Carlos,
at least where he was at the time.
Where he was at the time, like, comparatively, yeah. Yeah, because, like, Max had a lot of teammates that left Red Bull and then had success in other teams, like Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, obviously. Liam Lawson, maybe. But I made a point the last episode of this show that Red Bull should replace Lawson with Tsunoda for the Japanese Grand Prix, because if you look back at the Japanese Grand Prix from last year, Tsunoda was overtaking left and right. He was doing everything right because he was like, he grew up go-karting on that track in Suzuka. Like, it makes sense. He knows that track better than anybody else. And you know what? Based on what happened over the last week for Red Bull, that just confirmed to me that Helmut Marko listens to the Chroncast. So, Helmut Marko, this is my message to you. Thanks. Can I get one of those new hats, please? Thanks for the support, Helmut. Anyway.
Mr. Marco, I'm going to ask you to come on the show, too, if you are listening, because I'd like to ask you a question here, because I heard a rumor, I don't know if this is true.
Oh, God.
But that Max has a clause in his contract, supposedly, that would allow him to leave for free, depending on where Red Bull end up at the Constructors' Championship. Do you think this move being made now, so early in the season, before Liam has had a chance to really develop or get used to anything, could be in relation to that? Because we know Aston Martin are supposedly interested in throwing money at Max to see if he wants to come in.
Well, yeah, with Nui, but also, Stroll. He's not leaving. Alonso is signed next year, I believe, as well.
I
don't
know if he is.
Really? I thought it was 2026 and beyond.
I am not sure.
I'm checking.
Okay.
Copy VR checking. Copy VR checking.
That's the words of wisdom.
Oh, God.
I almost said radio is the greatest part of F1.
It's probably the water. Fernando Alonso. Da 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 da. What? Okay.
What do we got?
I'm still copy VR checking.
Still
2026.
Checking?
Yeah, he's signed in 2026. Fernando Alonso signs a new deal with Aston Martin to end speculation over F1 future. On board into 2026. So potentially next year could be the second time we see a Fernando Alonso retirement tour. But Max's current contract ends in 2026.
Okay.
So that is a clause. My other question is, Aston Martin is getting a partnership with Honda now that Red Bull is moving to Ford. Does Tsunoda move over to Aston Martin?
Quickly, I'd like to apologize for what I just said, because clearly, for the first time in history, the internet gave me false information. The contract clause thing that I just said. Or the Alonso contract and everything.
Oh, okay.
Clearly, the internet has lied to me, and I got that wrong on air, so...
No, it's just like he's so old, so, like, it makes sense. It's fine.
You just kind of assume this is probably the last year of the contract, right?
Yeah, no,
and
that man...
he's gonna race forever.
He's still a rookie. He's still a rookie.
I'm convinced... I've probably said this on air somewhere before. I think Fernando Alonso is going to die in a race car, not because he's crashed, but just of old age, because he's just decided, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired of living. I'm 80 and still competing in F1.
Yeah,
I just got my 33rd win at age 80.
You know what? And Lance Stroll the third would still allow that. He just got his 33rd win at 80. Wait. You know what? I used to say that about Ovechkin. I was like, Russian machine never breaks. He's not stopping. But I mean, he's probably stopping in the NHL soon. But he's gonna pull a Jaromir Jagr and play into his 50s. I swear.
I have a feeling with Ovi that he's gonna break. So I think he's gonna break the goal record. I don't think he's gonna do it this season. I think he gets it early next season.
Mm-hmm.
Like first couple games of next season. Like I think maybe he ties it
4.
this season, but I don't think he breaks it.
Mm-hmm.
I think what he's going to do is break the record, and that same day retire and go back to the KHL.
Yep.
Not even finish the season. Just I'm going home.
Yep.
If he breaks it this year, I think he'll play in the playoffs still, because like.
Oh yeah, right.
I forgot. KHL's I think approaching the. I don't know how the KHL works, to be honest. But logic would say they're probably in or approaching the postseason anyway, and also I think he'd stick around for a shot at one more cup with the Caps are in.
Yeah, because his contract ends next year.
Yeah.
So, like, they could just buy him out for a year.
Yeah. I feel like if he just up and left too, they would probably get some sort of cap relief from the league.
Yeah, because they're not the Canucks, so...
Yeah, exactly. They don't get the Roberto Luongo retiring penalty.
Oh, that was so stupid.
How dare we sign a legal contract?
God forbid. Yeah. Wait, I was looking at something.
Ovi's contract or the KHL playoffs? Fernando Alonso's contract?
Yeah. I was looking, it was F1 2026. Yeah, so the drivers that are currently signed for 2026, Alpine has a seat open, which, I mean, apparently they did to start the season too, because Jack Doohan's allegedly only signed for a few races. Aston Martin is locked up for the usual suspects. Audi, Bortoletto, and Hulkenberg. Cadillac. There's a rumor going around that Checo's coming back and gonna be in Cadillac.
Yep.
I can't wait for my GOAT Logan Sargent to unretire and race for the American team. Maybe we see Latifi back at it too. Who knows?
Latifi teammates would be just beautiful.
That would be amazing. They were teammates in a Williams promo video I watched with ice cream, I think, in it. I don't remember. It was when Sargent was like a test reserve driver.
Oh, yeah.
When he was still in F2. And Latifi was still on Williams and Albon was there. Anyway. Cadillac's entering. Ferrari's locked up. Haas has Ocon and Behrman. McLaren still has Norris and Piastri. Mercedes is open.
George is expiring, or?
George is expiring after the season, and so is Kimi.
Okay, that's an interesting one, because...
Toto, what are you doing?
Toto has, I think, at least sort of hinted at some interest a little bit. Not anything actually serious or anything.
Toto's in his DMs, bro. Like...
I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like James Vowell's level of in his DMs, but... Yeah, Max is still signed to 2026.
But, like...
oh, wait, what?
What?
Okay, this is a Brazilian motorsport article. Translating. Okay. Verstappen renews with Red Bull until the end of 2028. This is after, apparently, he won his first championship. So, apparently, I was mistaken.
Okay.
He's...
So, I don't know. Maybe some magic contract clause does exist and Mercedes could go after him, but with Mercedes, I wonder too, because you have two pretty good drivers who are both pretty young still.
Yeah. I'm trying to find his contract.
F1's weird about contract stuff too, with publishing.
They don't, yeah. Max Verstappen contract. Ooh. This headline from 22 hours ago, Racing News 365 revealed how Verstappen can escape Red Bull contract. Let's find out. What? Okay.
Welcome to the Chroncast, the only podcast where we do our research live.
Yeah, Max Verstappen. No, we're not. Listen. There's so many. Max Verstappen is known to be under contract at Red Bull until the end of the 2028 F1 season. However, exit clauses in his deal could allow... Oh, so it looks like he doesn't have a no move or a no trade. The reigning world champions contract talking point. Red Bull's issues the RB20. Verstappen has bemoaned the car is too slow. Is also unhappy at the decision to demote Liam Lawson.
I heard that too.
Marco has insisted that the exit clauses are not currently an issue. Of course, every top driver has an exit clause if performance is not good, but they're all tuned differently. It's not an issue at the moment. Verstappen's exit clauses could become a topic of conversation this summer. Rumors surrounding Verstappen's future are resurfacing. Mercedes and Aston Martin have been linked the most. Nothing concrete. Okay. Okay, this just says what is an exit clause. Pretty sure. Yeah. So...
The internet didn't lie to me.
Yeah, I lied to you about Alonso.
Yeah.
Verstappen has consistently been linked with an exit from Red Bull across the last 12 months. It hasn't been that long, guys. Okay,
Been
maybe
like,
it has. When
like
was no?
6 at least.
It was after. Okay, wasn't because it was Monaco was after Italy. It was kind of like after the Spanish Grand Prix is when everything started going downhill, kind of.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple like other winners in there, but like Miami, that was luck. Monaco, it was a good thing to happen. And then yes, it was from the Spanish Grand Prix until the Brazilian Grand Prix. That was the what the hell is going on era of Red Bull.
Yeah.
Because Max didn't win.
Mm-hmm. And so just going back to Max and Yuki being teammates, the one thing I wonder about with having the two together is they're two very strong personalities.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how adding the two of them now directly competing against each other to a team full of probably too much personality already with some of the people they have on the side, and, you know, Horner, Marco, Jos Verstappen around for some reason.
That dude. Nelson Piquet when they sneak him past the band signs. Sorry. Yeah. Good luck, Yuki. I'm rooting for you. And so is Oscar Piastri's mom. She went on a podcast talking about Oscar, but she was wearing a Yuki Tsunoda sweater. Nicole Piastri is an icon. She's an icon. Piastri. She's great. But yeah, I do feel bad for Liam. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, all the blame should be, like it usually is, on Red Bull. The blame should be placed there. Their management of bringing up a driver with 11 races of experience, compared to a driver with 3 seasons of experience. That's like if you took an L driver and threw them on the Coca-Cola. They ain't getting through that.
No.
Anyway.
And ultimately, I do wonder if this is also better for Liam, because one, the Racing Bulls car might be a little better right now. It's at least, I think, easier to handle for someone not named Max Verstappen.
Yeah, it's better for qualifying. Hasn't been actually. Yeah. It was pretty good in the race, and then they messed up the strategy in China. Mm-hmm. So if they had gone to the one stop like most of the teams did, then Yuki and Isaac would have had better results.
Yeah, but I also wonder if this might take a little bit of pressure off of him. Just like put him in a lighter team that's more development oriented.
Yeah,
and just let him go, because like he's got talent clearly, but he got really rushed into a tough situation. So again, the blame's on Red Bull, not Liam.
It's like Arthur Sheloves.
Yeah.
Flashes of promise, and then he's shoved into this role that he doesn't fit into yet because he needs more development. Yeah. And then he's suddenly a pariah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No. Couldn't put that better.
Patrick Alvin as Helmut Marko is exactly... No, you know who's... you know who's... Jim Rutherford. Jim Rutherford. You cannot tell me his little... Remember when he kept saying stuff in the Boudreaux, like, right before he got fired, and then he's like, oh, I should stop talking. That's Helmut Marko, except he hasn't realized that he should stop talking.
I feel like comparing anyone to avid Chroncast listener Helmut Marko is a little disrespectful.
Fair enough. I'm sorry, Jim Rutherford. I was just thinking, you know, grumpy old man that talks too much sometimes. Fair enough. Avid Chroncast listener Helmut Marko. That's a t-shirt.
I think on that note, we are just about ready to wrap the show up. Please check us out on social media at Nux Chronicles across the board. You can find my personal at Alex_Rick03 on Instagram. I also have a Blue Sky that I have completely forgotten to handle too. Kaja, where can people find you?
Kaja May, pretty much on all platforms.
Yeah. So with that, we'd just like to say thank you, everyone, especially Helmut Marko, for listening, and we'll see you next week.